This was one from the table, right? On the blue table?
It was on the snake.
No. This is not the Bhagavatam speak. It's
I looked in the
on the table.
Okay,
The box is open.
Okay, give one more.
I put one more. Like Jai this one.
Took it out. I found it. Oh wow.
I will give two gathers.
Extra mercy.
Hare Krishna. Another one? Okay.
Maybe we can try them.
Should be either one or three, not two.
That's all yours.
Huh?
You can vary.
Hmm?
You can do it.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Govinda Dev ki jai. Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the Sema devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Haribo. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Sound will be better for the phone this way.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Naranam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tato Jayam Dirayet. Reading from Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, Explanation of Devotional Service, Text 21. Yes. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma vastita sada tam avajayamam martya Kuruter chavidambanam. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma vastita sada tam avaghayamam martya Kuruter chavidambanam. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu
Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma vastita sada tam avagyayamam martya kuruter chavidambanam.
Aham sarves bhuteshu bhutama vastiste sada tam avagyanamam martya vidambanam.
Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma vastita sada tam avagyayamam martya Kuruter chavidambanam. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma vastita sada tam avagyayamam martya Kuruter chavidambanam. Aham, I, sarveshu, in all, bhuteshu, living entities, bhutatma, the super soul in all beings, avastita, situated, sada, always, tam, that super soul, avagaya, disregarding, mam, me, martaya, a mortal man, kurute, performs, archa, of worship of the deity, vidambanam, imitation, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I am present in every living entity as the super soul. If someone neglects or disregards that super soul everywhere and engages himself in the worship of the deity in the temple, that is simply imitation. Purport: in purified consciousness or Krishna consciousness, one sees the presence of Krishna everywhere. If, therefore, one only engages in deity worship in the temple and does not consider other living entities, then he is in the lowest grade of devotional service. One who worships the deity in the temple and does not show respect to others is a devotee on the material platform, in the lowest stage of devotional service. A devotee should try to understand everything in relationship with Krishna and try to serve everything in that spirit. To serve everything means to engage everything in the service of Krishna. If a person is innocent and does not know his relationship with Krishna, an advanced devotee should try to engage him in the service of Krishna. One who is advanced in Krishna consciousness can engage not only the living being, but everything in the service of Krishna. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma vastita sada tam avaghyayamam martya kurutercha vidambanam. I am present in every living entity as the super soul. If someone neglects or disregards that super soul everywhere and engages himself in the worship of the deity in the temple, that is simply imitation. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayati girim yat kripa tamaham vande shri gurun dinatharinam vagishi yasya vadane lakshmi yasya chavaksasi yasyasti hridaya sambitam nrisimha mahammaje. Hare Krishna. So we can see easily the deities, Radha Govinda Dev, Gauranitai, but cannot see so easy the presence of the super soul in the heart of all living entities. So therefore we require knowledge, and therefore in Bhagavatam we are receiving this knowledge so that we can behave properly with everyone. It's not so easy to behave properly as a civilized human being, let alone as a devotee. Therefore, we require a good example, training, and we require continuous hearing of scripture in order to mold, to change our behavior accordingly. Why Krishna in this verse and in the Acharyas explained that there are 6 verses in which Krishna, Kapiladev, speaks, rather Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, somewhat angrily. Why is the Lord somewhat angry? Because he wants to teach us important lesson, to save us from future troubles. Just like in civilized, normal families, sometimes the parents, they pretend that they're angry at the children. They're actually not angry at them, but they make a show that I'm very angry now. And then the children are, they get the point in this way. They understand, I did something really wrong, therefore my mom, she's so angry, or my dad, and then they correct this behavior. Unfortunately, in the modern contemporary scenario, parents are quite often actually angry, really angry at the kids, and then this creates different type of response from the kid. Because the children, believe it or not, they can tell whether you are angry at them or you just try to make the point. And therefore, it's very delicate, because the children, if we speak in the context of devotional families, the kids, they can tell whether the parents, they actually want to go to the temple. Or they're just going because they're supposed to give good example to the children, and they can tell whether or not the parents actually enjoy chanting, reading Bhagavatam, all these devotional activities. So they pick up on this. They don't, for them it's not so important what you say, but with the mood behind, the real intention. And Krishna is the same. Krishna also, he is in the heart, and he sees, he knows what is our desire, real desire. So this is here what is described. This type of, this level of consciousness is the real way by which you can attain universal brotherhood, or how do you call this in these days? All inclusiveness, or other fancy word. What they use nowadays. Social peace, prosperity, etc. Unity, yes. This is the only way by which we can get rid of all this discrimination. Why are you discriminating against me? Discriminating on the basis of different factors like color, greed, race, whatever, religion. But that's the only way, because Krishna is God, and he gives the universal recipe for peace. Bhaktaram yagatapasam sarva lokamaheshwaram sukhilam sarva bhutanam gyatvam shantim richati. If we recognize that Krishna is the proprietor, that he is the enjoyer, that he is the best friend of all living entities, not us. In other words, Krishna has the recipe for social rest, for social peace. We don't have it. We have to follow Krishna's system, varnashram. Believe it or not, if we want the society to be peaceful. So if we accept all this, then there will be peace. And otherwise we will be discriminating against certain category of people. People are fighting for rights, for freedom, but they are fighting for the rights of certain section of society. Because they lack, if they are not connected to Krishna, they lack the understanding that we are all connected to God. We all, the super soul is in everyone's heart. So in purport to this verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that offenses generally stem from disrespect to the great devotees. Though such devotees are difficult to see, many exist. That's a very important point, I thought. Though such devotees are difficult to see, the great devotees, many exist. That means that right now we are surrounded by, there is a good chance that right now we are surrounded by great devotees, but maybe we don't recognize them as great devotees. This neophyte mentality dictates that Krishna and Prabhupada and my Guru Maharaj. These are the greatest. And the rest are just ordinary people. I see them, I live with these people, especially if you live in the temple. Then it's familiarity breeds contempt. It's very easy to develop this neglectful mentality. And this is exactly what Krishna is speaking here. Oh, he's not a pure devotee. Well, he's just Kanishta Adhikari. And then then this leads to disregard to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, in these verses, disrespect, disregard, hatred, and criticism are forbidden. And this mentality is just the opposite of the mentality of the spiritual world, where the devotees are cooperating to serve Krishna. So they value one another. in the spiritual world, they don't just serve Radha Krishna. They are serving Radha Krishna, but they are serving the devotees as well. And we see in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya also. So if we consider only God and my Guru, then it will be difficult for us to find our spot in the spiritual world. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes Sridhar Swami, who says that this type of devotee, he does not behave well with the devotees and even with other people. Therefore, one of the offenses is called Jiva Parada. It's also offense against the holy name. Jiva Parada means you just offend ordinary people, not the devotees. But they're also devotees, they just don't know yet. They're not aware. So it's another problem. And Prakrita means new or unrefined in nature. It's Prakrita devotee. Unrefined. It's like you have a society of gentlemen, ladies properly trained, and you have outsider who enters suddenly in this social circle, and then immediately you can notice this guy. He's new and unrefined. He doesn't know how to behave with people. He's very loud. He interrupts people while they're talking. He doesn't know what to say. He's rude. So we have to get rid of this mentality in ourselves. And how do we do that? A little later, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this is done by repeating, hearing. We have to hear again and again what is the proper behavior, what is the proper mood. And therefore we have all these wonderful stories from Bhagavatam where the great devotees, they don't just give us instructions, but they're acharyas. They, through their own behavior, they teach us. And this is the best way to learn, the easiest way. Because we are not aware very often that we are doing something wrong. That's the problem. We think that's okay. So we have to hear, understand what is wrong. We have to understand that I have some problem. For example, I'm proud, I'm envious, I'm all this. When we read Bhagavad Gita, the chapter called Divine and Demoniac Nature, we won't do anything wrong if we recognize some of these demoniac tendencies in our heart. So first we become aware, just like when you have some disease. First you're aware of the disease, and then you follow certain diet, you take medicine, and then gradually become cured. But if you're not aware that you are in denial, no, I'm not diseased, then you cannot get rid of it. In the 23rd verse, there is a special word used by Kapiladev. We often use this word. It's Srila Prabhupada translates it as separatist. And the Sanskrit is
25th verse, you said?
23rd. Dvishyata parakayamam. Manino binna darshina. Binna darshina, Prabhupada translates as separatist. One who offers me respect but is envious to the bodies of others and is therefore separatist never attains peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities. So first thing that is interesting is that these people are envious to the body of others. So we have to consider this. Being envious to the body may include both the gross and the subtle body. You don't like the gross body of somebody. It looks for you, according to your taste, it looks strange or weird. But also the mind. So sometimes the devotees, they may have their own peculiar nature. Some devotee, for example, he may be little easily irritated, especially young old people. They get grumpy sometimes. Young people sometimes are very energetic, so they're also easily irritated. So we shouldn't hate, we shouldn't be envious to the minds of the devotees also. Oh, I think he's Kanishta Adhikari because sometimes he gets irritated, for example. We should be careful about this mentality. He may be advanced devotee. This is the point, that it takes one to see one. You have to be very advanced in order to see the other advanced devotees, to recognize them. So separatists, Bhinna Darshina, this means Bhinna, sometimes is translated as Bhinna Prakriti Rashtada, as separate. Darshana means vision, separate vision. And the Acharyas comment that Bhinna Darshana means one who does not recognize that his own suffering is also felt the same way in others. So if you don't recognize that you are causing suffering to others by your action, and it feels exactly like when you are hurt, then this is separatist mentality. There is no empathy for the pain of others that you're causing. I wanted to quote also a verse from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna explains exactly the opposite. He's a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna. So this is what we should strive for. Just like we are happy and distressed, other people also, the same way. They feel the same. So we should, basic rule even from Bible, one shouldn't behave in a way that he doesn't like people to behave with him in the same way. And as I mentioned, there are different stories from Bhagavatam giving an example, perfect example of this type of proper behavior with other living entities in connection to Krishna, seeing that Krishna is the Paramatma in everyone's heart. I wanted to mention the story of Maharaja Rantidev from 9th canto, who, as a great devotee, he had the habit of performing very outstanding tapasya. He was fasting for 48 days with his family members without even drinking water to please the Lord. You can imagine 48 days. In order to perform such type of austerity, you have to be a really powerful person, otherwise you'll die. 48 days, no water even. How can you maintain your body like this? So on the 48th, the last day of the fast, Maharaja Rantideva was, after he performed all the rituals and took permission from the Brahmanas, he was ready to break the fast with very fine prasadam, cooked with ghee. Of course, this is also not recommended. If you follow fast for so long, you better don't break the fast with Rajbhog offering, because you may have severe problems. But he was a very powerful person, so he was just about to break the fast when in the palace entered a unexpected guest, a Brahmana. And he requested the king, "My dear king, I am very hungry, please give me something to eat." And then the Maharaja Rantideva, with great pleasure, and he was very happy, he gave a portion of his food to this Brahmana, and the Brahmana then ate. Maharaja Rantideva had to wait, because you don't eat before the guest. So you can imagine, after 50 days of fast almost, you're just about to break the fast, and then somebody enters. And then the king, and he wants the food, and you have to wait now, okay, he has to eat now. So many things could happen in the mind, but Rantideva was happy, and he saw this Brahmana, how? In connection with the Supreme Lord. He saw him as... Therefore, it is stated that the unexpected guest especially, Titi, he's Atiti, he's a representative of the Lord. And then he waited, and the Brahmana was satisfied, and then he left, and then the king was about to finally to take his meal. And then suddenly a Shudra arrived. They were like they had. It's like they spoke with them, like they made a plan. The whole group of these guests, and one after another they were coming. And the Shudra also, he was also very hungry, and the king immediately gave him also a portion of his food again. And then the Shudra ate, and then he was about to eat. Then another person came. He was with dogs. There were dogs with him. And he said, I and my dogs were very hungry. So please feed us. So the king gave all the remaining balance of the food to this poor person, apparently. And then only the drink, the water remained. Some drinking. And then the king was about to drink this water when Chandala came, and he said, "My dear king, I'm very lowly, very despicable person, but please, I'm very thirsty, please give me something to drink." And then the king, Bhagavatam says, then the king spoke up. Bhagavatam says, spoke the following nectarian words. And these words, they remained in the Bhagavatam. Rantideva said, I don't want liberation, I don't want the heavenly planets, I don't want any material acquisition. Only thing I want is to remain here in this material world and to suffer all the sufferings that are meant for the conditioned souls. Let me suffer them, so that they all can be freed and go back home to Godhead. So, Prabhupada in the purport, he compares Maharaja Rantidev to? Yes, to Vasudeva Datta. And in other purport, he compares Vasudeva Datta to Jesus Christ also, of course. But Prabhupada says that Christ saved his own devotees, those who believe in him. But Vasudeva Datta didn't just pray for those who have faith in him or in Lord Chaitanya. He prayed for everyone. He wanted to take on his shoulders the sin of the whole universe. And again, this is not done sentimentally. That's what people usually do. It is done with sound philosophical understanding that Krishna is in the heart of everyone, and therefore we are all connected to Krishna, and therefore as a parts and parcels of Krishna, everyone deserves respect. Of course, now, we cannot say now, it's not proper to say that everyone deserves equal respect. It's also another face of the material energy of Maya. We don't respect we know the verse from Bhagavad Gita, Brahmane Gave, Shuni Chave Swapakicha Pandita Samadarshina, Vidya Vinaya Sampane, Brahmane Gave Hastini. That the self-realized person, he sees on equal level, on equal footage, the Brahmana, the dog, and the dog eater in Chandala. It doesn't mean that he respects them, that externally his respect for this person, for these types of persons, looks the same. You don't respect the dog in the same way as you respect the Brahmana. Right? But still respect should be there. Some people, they need more facilities, some people need less facilities. And all these dealings are arranged according to Shastra, not according to our mental speculation. People try to speculate about this, and therefore the human society is in a very chaotic condition right now. Another story that comes to mind is the story of Maharaja Shibi. These persons, Maharaja Shibi, Rantideva. Bhagavatam says that these persons, their names are chanted in the morning and in the evening. It brings auspiciousness. So Maharaja Shibi is famous for also for his charity. He it happened, well, I didn't mention about Maharaja Rantidev, that when this happened, I didn't tell you the story till the end. When all these people, they came and they were satisfied, and then Maharaja Rantidev spoke up this verse, and he gave his water to this Chandala. Then what happened was that all these persons that came to the palace were not ordinary Brahmana or Chandala or dog eater or Shudra. It turns out they were the great demigods, Brahma, Shiva, etc. And they revealed themselves. And then they offered blessings. They were very pleased with the king. Something similar happened to Maharaja Shivi. A certain pigeon, very mysterious pigeon, appeared. And he was running away from a eagle who wanted to eat him. And the eagle was hunting him, and then the pigeon took shelter in the king. And then the king is supposed to protect the pragya, everyone, not just the human beings, but everyone. And the king offered protection to the pigeon. But then the eagle came, and he was the eagle, or I think so. Hawk, yeah, okay. So this bird of prey came. Okay, Garuda should forgive us. He's not eagle. And then the bird of prey, the hawk, he demanded, but this is my food, my dear king. The God has given me this is my righteous share. Isha vasyam idam sarvam yat. I'm not sure whether he chanted Ishupanishad, but his argumentation was in this line of thought. So I have to also to eat something. The king said, okay, fair enough. Then I can give you something in return, not in return. I can in exchange. So will you accept my flesh? I can give you. Okay, we put the pigeon on a scale, and I will put my flesh on the scale, and then you get as much flesh as the pigeon weighs. And the hawk was satisfied. Okay, let's do that. So then the king put the pigeon because he couldn't take flesh for someone else. You have to take your own flesh. If you okay, you want to give protection to this pigeon, then the king started cutting his own flesh and putting it on the scale. But as Srila Prabhupada puts it in the purport, this mysterious pigeon remained. He looked like nothing, very small, but he was very heavy. So the king couldn't equal the weight, no matter how much flesh he cut off his body. It reminds me about the Karna, another great hero. Although Karna was a bad guy in Mahabharata. He was the guy who proposed that Draupadi will be offended. In his mind came this idea. So he's not from the good guys. But anyway, he's also celebrated because he was very determined to please the Brahmanas. When Arjuna's father, Indra came to him dressed as Brahmana and requested a gift from him, from Karna. Karna was born with natural armor, great hero. And Indra knew that with this armor, Karna will be very difficult for Arjuna to kill. So he came up dressed as a Brahmana, and he demanded this armor. And the armor was part of the body of Karna. So he had to cut with a sword or something, with a knife. Cut off the armor, and then when he did this, both the demigods and the demons, they were shouting Jaya, and they were throwing flowers on him. They were great person in this sense. So then the Maharaja Shivi could not equal the weight of this pigeon, and then at the end he just stepped on the scale. So he was ready to give up his own life. And then these two birds, they revealed their true identities. They were again demigods, Shiva and Brahma, or Indra. Indra and Agni. Marasiddhi. So that's what happens when we see everything in relation to Krishna. We made it into Bhagavatam. That's not our goal, of course. I'm just joking. But these are the great personalities. We have to follow their example. And the rest is trivial. It's you can see it everywhere. People trying to cheat, trying to come in front. Kadambakanda Maharaj once, he said that a devotee should have a heart. Even if he is very advanced in a sense that he knows many shlokas, he wakes up every morning for Mangal Arati, he's very austere, he knows Bhagavatam, gives lectures, if he doesn't have a heart. And having a heart means, you want to say something?
No.
Having a heart means exactly, well, there are different meanings of this, but in this context, it means compassion for all living entities, to see how we all are on the same boat, so to say, and we all have the same challenges. So we have to have heart in dealings with the devotees also. Give them attention. Devotees, very often they want to say something, they want to share something. We have to make the time for that. It's amazing how often we can contribute so much to the social well-being of the community just by having time to listen to someone, to listen to his story. People are very lonely. There was one, and to encourage them, there was one psychiatrist who shared that in his own experience, sometimes people, when they talk to him, they are very hesitant to share good news about their life. Why? Because when in the past they used to do that, they didn't necessarily get enough encouragement or no encouragement at all. When you share a good story, something good happened to you, then people are supposed to encourage you, right? Few words. Oh, great! I'm very happy for you. They didn't get this, so they're hesitant to share the good stories because nobody cares. So my point is, it is very nice that we are goal-oriented and everybody has his project. But we should have time for the devotees also. Talk to the devotees. My Guru Maharaj, he says that observing the devotees is a great sport. He says, I recommend it to everyone. Observe the devotees. Very interesting things that they do. Observe them with love and affection, not with critical eye. Another Guru, Radhanath Swami, he says that we should be very compassionate to others and very introspective about ourselves. That means critical people. Not other way around, critical and introspective to others and very compassionate to ourselves. And when we give our time to the devotees, it's also service because Krishna appreciates. Krishna, this is also connected to this verse, Krishna is not so impressed when somebody serves him directly. And that's what he says here also, right? He says, if someone neglects or disregards that super soul everywhere and engages himself in the worship of the deity in the temple, this is simple imitation. So Krishna is not so impressed when you serve him directly. But Krishna feels that he's indebted to his devotees. Very much so. So when we serve the devotees, then Krishna feels very indebted to us. Somebody tries to repay my debt that I feel in my heart for my devotees. Somebody is helping me in this. So let's try to be one of these persons. Because we should also remember Prabhupada, he was visionary, of course. He had the great plans for the Western world. Everybody should be Krishna conscious. But also Prabhupada also mentioned, if one person becomes pure devotee as a result of my preaching, I will consider my mission successful. So we should balance between these two. And this one person, maybe the guy who came up to us and he wanted to share something, but we were too busy. We have our own schedule, we have our own ideas, my own project. Prabhu, I have 5 minutes. And then I have next. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you that you didn't go somewhere to follow your own schedule. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for so many nice points. Are we doing microphones?
Okay.
Maybe this one.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
You reminded us about how it's bad to offend devotees, and then sometimes we have to be very respectful of Krishna. But actually, even offending neophyte devotees is also offending devotees. And there's a very amazing pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, when Dhruva Maharaj's stepmother offended him before he even found his guru. But still she had to die prematurely, as did her son, for her speaking very harshly.
Although Dhruva forgave her.
Was that?
Although Dhruva forgave her. Dhruva Maharaj forgave.
Yeah, Dhruva Maharaj forgave her, but still Krishna didn't forgive her. But she and her son both had to die prematurely. So if we offend somebody who later becomes pure devotee, watch out.
Hare Krishna.
And then, another point, apparently Lord Chaitanya is quoted as saying in the Chaitanya Bhāgavatam that one who chants the holy name and doesn't offend any living entity very easily to Krishna. And you were talking about how it's good to have time for devotees, and that's one of my faults. I don't have enough time for devotees, but it reminded me of a pastime of Mukunda Maharaj in the very beginning, when he was talking to Srila Prabhupada. He was amazed because Prabhupada had this incredible ambition to translate all these books and spread this mission all over the world. When he was talking with Srila Prabhupada, he felt that Prabhupada had all the time in the world for him, and that made a really big impression on his mind.
Yeah. Thank you for making these nice points. Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita, he had all the time in the world for Arjuna. Although the battle was about to start and everybody was waiting for this battle for so long, and Krishna just asked Arjuna again and again, do you understand? And Prabhupada says, Krishna was ready to repeat the whole Bhagavad Gita from the beginning. If Arjuna, just to make sure that his devotee is free of misgivings and doubts. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for such a lovely class. Such important points that you brought up that are definitely targeting some anarthas in my heart that are inhibiting my relationships with devotees. And I remember hearing a story by Sri Srila Prabhu when he was in France and they were doing some kirtan. And in France, there's a lot of Catholic and Christian monasteries, and so they'll stay there sometimes. And he stayed there, and he was speaking to one of the head monks there, and he said, "Your philosophy is profound. You're saying your philosophy is perfect, but I've seen vertically everything is very good, but horizontally it's not working very nicely." Which means that the practice of the philosophy isn't necessarily being displayed so nicely within the movement. So you brought out a lot of really important points on how we can display that. And I have a question based on that understanding. We hear so often in the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita about seeing the super soul in all living entities. But we don't necessarily actually see the jiva. Like, it's like sometimes we focus, it's like, for me, it's like a weird thing. Like, I'm supposed to focus on the super soul, but I feel like that's also somehow impersonal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm just seeing the super soul in you,
Yeah.
and then it's like I'm not actually acknowledging that you're an eternal servant and you have an eternal relationship with the
Yeah,
divine
yeah.
couple, you know?
Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah.
How-
I also felt the same. Sometimes devotees sometimes saying, "Oh, Krishna is in his heart," and at the expense of the soul. I respect you, but not because of you, but because Krishna is in your heart. It's similar to what Krishna describes here. Again, it's you kind of ignore the person. So, but Krishna is in the heart. Why? Because he has affection for this particular living entity. He has something unique to offer to Krishna. So until we recognize also this, both the Paramatma and the Krishna and his servant, our realization will not be perfect, right? And that's what I was quoting my Guru Maharaj. He was saying that he likes to observe the devotees. Kadambakala Maharaj was the same. These people, you could feel in your heart how much affection they have for devotees. They like devotees. They like to observe them. They appreciate the devotees. And they recognize the uniqueness of each and every devotee, the individual, unique type of service that they render to Krishna. So, I don't know whether I answered your question, but I recognize what you are explaining. But in order to recognize the jiva, I have to talk to people. I have to make time. Try to understand them. Sometimes it's not, as I said, it's not so, you don't have to speak much, you just have to listen. 15, 20 minutes of your precious time, just listen what they have to say. Then sometimes when they have problems, people have problems, the big part of the problem is resolved when they just have somebody to tell the problem. And then they in their Paramatma, just Krishna helps them from inside to solve this problem when they have the confidence and time to lay out the problem, try to explain the problem. So if this is your role, just listen for a while. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you for this class. It just reminded me, my Guru Maharaj, Shri Prabhu, had once this situation where he was somewhere in Vrindavan, and he wanted to chant and things like that, do his own sadhana. And then one of his young brothers just kind of sat right next to him, right? Like demanding attention. And for a second, my Guru Maharaj was thinking like, I'm chanting, and like maybe for even less than a second. But then he made a decision, like speaking about it in introspection. He made a decision, okay, I'm just going to give this person 100% attention. And then he, how sometimes we just like talk to someone like this, like we sit in close and talk. What he did, he turned his chair like this, towards this person, and he started listening to him. And actually, the conversation was not more than like 3 or 5 minutes, so it didn't take long, but we actually, would sometimes expect that the person will take like hours and hours of the way. And it just reminded me about this situation. If we actually consciously decide to, it's also part of surrender, I guess, okay, let's see what Krishna has. Because sometimes people have so many things to say.
Nice.
We had like a few months ago this don't remember who said it, but how Krishna speaks through different devotees to us, right? Or through ignorant devotees, and if we're not able to listen to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
I was thinking that in regards to the question of turning Guru, it's a little bit like two extremes. One is jnana and one is karma. Like if you only do super, so it's a little bit kind of impersonalism. If you see only the living entity, the individual soul,
It's sentimental.
it becomes materialism. Because, okay, but what is the connection of this particular living entity with the absolute reality of Krishna? So should we go at the same time? We should be able to see the living entity as an individual, but at the same time see that this particular individual has eternal relationship with Krishna. That's why he is special on a spiritual level. And it will be like a full picture, like the Panchatattva. You have all these great personalities there, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, eternal energy, and then you have the Jiva, and it's part of the absolute picture.
Nice.
And I also wanted to say something in regards to this point that you were saying that we have to listen to the devotees, maybe they have something nice, valuable to say. This guy that said that nobody was sharing with him good stuff.
Yeah.
One time he said that I don't know why devotees they come to me and they just only complain. Like nothing good happens in your life. I want to hear also some nice things. Just come and tell me something nice. How many books you distributed? How many nice people you met? Tell me something nice about your life. Don't give me all the garbage.
Yeah, thank you. So, thank you very much, dear devotees. Granthara Śrimad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.